The Financial Services Commission, the Mauritian equivalent of SEBI, has said that it's not found any breach of law by the 38 global companies and 11 funds associated with the Adani Group in allegations raised by Hindenburg. Meanwhile, the Mauritian Financial Services Minister, Mahen Seeruttun, has told his country's parliament that the presence of shell companies on the island nation were false and that they were baseless. Joining us now from Port Louis, the Minister Mahen Seeruttun. Thank you very much, sir, for being with us. How do you respond, sir, to the allegations raised in the Hindenburg report on the alleged presence of entities in Mauritius that worked apparently as a conduit for money laundering and share price manipulation?
Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to at least clarify the things that have been mentioned in that report to refer to. I've said it before and I say it again. Over the years, we have set up a very robust framework for global business activities in Mauritius. I must say our global business sector is well regulated today, and any licenses that are awarded by the Financial Services Commission, which is a regulator, as you mentioned, the equivalent of SEBI, has a duty to ensure that before any license is granted, conditions set in our legislations are being met. And one thing that I keep saying it, there's one element where we are intransigent is with regard to showing substance. What we mean by that is that any company, any entity in the global business sector being granted a license, they have to demonstrate that their core income generating activities is being carried out from Mauritius. So this is something which is imperative to demonstrate that. Over and above, it has to be managed by a management company. It has to have at least 2 local directors with, satisfying in terms of fit and proper qualities, and also in terms of caliber for assuming these responsibilities. And over and above that, they have to have bank accounts in Mauritius. They have to have their records kept in Mauritius. They have to have their accounts audited in Mauritius and filed in Mauritius. So there are a number of conditions that have to be satisfied before they get any license. So when the report mentioned about shell companies being harbored in Mauritius, that's why I said it's not true, it's baseless, and it's unfounded, and based on those requirements that entities has to adhere to. And I must say, as the regulator, they have to ensure that supervision is done on a regular basis, and at all times, those entities have to maintain that level of compliance.
Sure. Today, so let me ask you then, there has been a process of investigating these allegations in Mauritius. Could you tell us how robust that process has been?
A few years back, we were evaluated on our system here by the Financial Action Task Force, which is the organization that sets the standards with regard to AMLCFT issues. With regard to technical compliance, there was no issue. And today, I must say, with regard to 40 recommendations set by the FATF, Mauritius is compliant, or largely compliant with all the 40 recommendations. To tell you that the level of compliance that we have reached, and those were assessed, reviewed by the experts from FATF, and we have demonstrated that level of compliance. This is the kind of certificate that we have today to demonstrate that our system is robust. So I don't think we can question the fact that those who set the standards have been wrong. in their evaluation. That is why I keep saying it, to come and say things about our jurisdiction when we have demonstrated all the time that we are a jurisdiction of repute. We want to stay that way. And in fact, we have taken a commitment to sustain that level of compliance. And it's not only with AMLCFT,
Right.
I must say, it's also with regard to tax matters.
Yeah.
And there again, I must say, very often in the media, you see they refer Mauritius as a tax haven country. Totally false, totally incorrect.
I'll come to that allegation, and it has been raised in the past in a moment, but I'm just trying to understand, have you received compliance reports pertaining to entities linked to the Adani Group, compliance reports on the basis of inquiries or questions which you have asked?
Of course, as a regulator, they have the duty to ensure that at all times their licensees are adhering to the conditions set for holding a license here. And I can tell you, the regulator has asked for those reports and they have received it. And that is why I can tell you today that as far as Mauritius is concerned, as far as our legislations stipulate, there hasn't been any breach carried out by those companies that are licensed in Mauritius. So that is why I have no problem saying that in Parliament and or anywhere else that those allegations are very baseless without looking at the way we work here.
And Minister, I interrupted you earlier on. You wanted to make the point that Mauritius is not an unregulated tax haven, that you have very stringent laws. And that, would you agree, Minister, that when allegations as serious as this are raised, it puts into question, the reputation of Mauritius in this field itself?
In 2018, we embarked in a major reform with regard to global tax matters. And we ensure that we adhere to all the requirements set by the OECD. As you know, the OECD is the institution that sets the standard with regard to whether a jurisdiction is practicing harmful tax regime or not. And I can tell you that we have been reviewed, our tax legislation has been reviewed by the experts from the OECD.
Yes.
And based on that, today, I can tell you that Mauritius doesn't practice any harmful tax practices. So we don't fall under that category as being a tax haven country.
Right.
We are whitelisted. And therefore, when some media refer to Mauritius as a tax haven, I find it very unhealthy and not fair to be treated as such when we are complying with all the requirements set by the OECD, which you will agree with me, is the institutions, international institutions, recognized for the setting of those standards with regard to tax matters.
Minister, are you contemplating, or have you contemplated, has your country contemplated legal action against the Hindenburg Group for bringing disrepute onto your country in terms of the allegations which have been raised?
We're not discarding any action, but we are focusing on what we think we need to focus on. There have been other papers being produced, reported in the past, and alleging this and that. But for us, what is important, I think, is the confidence that we need and the trust that we need to convey to our people that we service, the investors. And I'm sure those who are well-informed investors, they know, they have those who have been working with Mauritius for years. They know the way things are done here, and they are the one, they won't base their decisions on reports such as the one that has been published recently. So, like I said, these kind of reports do cause certain harm,
Right.
but that's why we, as a jurisdiction, we need to, through your press, through your media, we're trying to reassure the business community, the investors community, that Mauritius is compliant with all those standards set,
Yeah.
and we can reassure them that you can do business with Mauritius, and we don't allow any kind of
Sure.
unhealthy investments here.
Just to wrap this up, and it's a repeat of a question, but I just wanted to hear it from you one more time so that I'm clear on it. As far as Mauritius is concerned, the Adani group of companies have had false and baseless allegations leveled against them with regard to shell companies in Mauritius. Is that correct?
That's right. I keep saying it. All the companies that are licensed in Mauritius, they have to adhere to all the conditions set as per the Financial Services Act, which is a legislation
Sure.
governing those activities. And at all times, they have to ensure that those conditions are being met.
Right.
And like I said, they are managed by local management companies that have to ensure and to provide compliance report whenever they are requested. And I can tell you that those are being met. And that is why I can say breaches have not occurred in Mauritius with regard to these companies that we are referring to.
Minister, it's been wonderful speaking to you, and thank you so much for talking to us. And perhaps in the future, we can also talk about how close India and Mauritius, we are strategic partners, we are cultural partners, and we are people-to-people partners as well, which is the basis, I think, of our relationship. But it's been wonderful speaking to you this evening, sir. Thank you very much.